The future of EU development cooperation must be based on the EU values of human rights, solidarity and democracy. In a world increasingly driven by populist post-truth lies, the EU needs to ensure its relationship with development partners is based on its core values, on evidences and on needs, and on ensuring those currently most excluded from the benefits of development reap the largest rewards of EU assistance. Things have improved since a consensus on EU development cooperation was last agreed. Fewer lives are being left in extreme poverty and child survival rates have improved. But 16,000 children under 5 will die today from preventable causes, and another 16,000 will die tomorrow. The EU as a whole needs to redouble its efforts so that this needless loss of life does not continue, that our world, our dignity and our future in common is secured. The treaty requires that development be focused on poverty eradication, and this focus needs to now fall squarely on those groups that remain in poverty because of exclusion and discrimination. This is in line with Agenda 2030 and its core principle that we should leave no one behind. Children who are currently excluded, marginalized and discriminated against need to become a focus for EU development assistance. The health, education and other social services universally required by children therefore should be the priority for EU development. And waiting until children become youth to acknowledge their needs and their rights is not an option. The survival of children is just a start. They need, and have the right to, access to adequate and nutritious food if they are to fulfill their full potential. They also need, and also have a right to, access to education worth its name. They need clean water, sanitation and reliable energy too. They also need a life free from persecution and violence. This is how we secure sustainable development for this generation of children and the generation after. EU development policy alone cannot deliver all of this for all children. So the EU needs to ensure all its policies are working towards this aim. And it should work in partnership with governments, communities and civil society to ensure that all children benefit from development with the prevention of exclusion and discrimination. The EU is also increasingly looking to work with the private sector in its development activities. But the private sector that profits from EU development finance should not be large EU or global corporations. It should be the local and small-scale private sector that benefits from EU cooperation if real development is to be achieved. Whilst the EU cannot do it all, its sustainable development policy needs to be based on values of universal human rights, solidarity and fairness. If it is, then together we stand in much better prospect of reaching every last child.